What's up, guys? Mickle here, and what you're looking at right now on the screen is Brad Garlinghouse and Stuart Alderati in New York City for a settlement conference with the SEC. Now, guys, this is not speculation. This is confirmed a settlement conference between the SEC and Ripple. In this video, I want to talk about whether or not I think this case is going to settle today, how this case is going to progress going forward if it doesn't settle, when is the longest this case could possibly last, do I think the SEC is going to appeal the case? Guys, in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the Ripple SEC case right now. There is a ton going on behind the scenes right now, and we're going to cover it all. At the end of the video too, I want to show you some very interesting price charts involving XRP and the 2018 pump when it went on a 10,000% run. Guys, the similarities here are shocking. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Guys, thank you so much to everyone who likes the videos and to subscribe to the channel. We've really seen a massive skyrocket in the amount of subscribers on the channel recently, so make sure to keep it up. I really appreciate your support. Also, if you have any good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So guys, as I said in the intro, today was a confirmed settlement negotiation between Ripple and the SEC in New York. Now, one thing I did notice in terms of this settlement negotiation is the fact that Brad Garlinghouse was in fact there. So this seems like a pretty serious negotiation, right? If this was some kind of low-level negotiation where each team just sent their lawyers to kind of argue about some things, but both sides knew it wasn't actually going to settle, obviously that's a much different situation than Brad Garlinghouse and Stuart Alderati actually being present. Now, do I think this case is going to settle today? Guys, probably not, and I feel like we would have already heard news if the case was going to settle today. But with that being said, I mean, I feel like everyone's been wrong on all their settlement predictions for the past 4 years, so maybe the one time, right, no one actually thinks there's going to be a settlement, we might see it. Either way, though, the thing I really want to point out here, which I think is more important, is why Ripple and the SEC would settle. Now, I want to show you two very, very important clips, one done by Metal Law Man and the other one done by Jeremy Hogan, because it's going to give you a really good idea of how badly of a position the SEC is currently in right now. Guys, if the SEC was smart, they would settle this case, because they're going to walk away from this case with XRP not being a security and almost no money from Ripple. First, I want you to listen to Metal Law Man talk about exactly why the SEC is in such a bad place in terms of actually getting money from Ripple. And then I want to show you the SEC's issue with appealing the case. First, listen up to this. This is so important to understand.
The bigger argument here, in my view, is Ripple caught a very, very lucky break recently. The Second Circuit Court of Appeals ruled at the end of last year that in order for there to be disgorgement, there have to be victims of the fraud, victims of the securities law violation. There has to be something called pecuniary harm, and that means losses, actual losses. So when you read the SEC's filing on their damages theory, they have a heading saying, hey, no problem, there's pecuniary harm here, but they don't actually identify a single purchaser of XRP who lost money. What they say is some purchasers, and remember, we're talking about sophisticated institutional buyers, hedge funds, VCs, whales buying XRP, and they bought at discounts and then presumably sold, not the next day, but periodically. And so the SEC says some of the buyers got a lower discount than others, and therefore they were pecuniarily harmed, which does violence to that term. There have to be actual losses, and they do not identify a single quote-unquote victim institution that lost money in their deal because they bought all of this XRP at some significant discounts.
So guys, right there should really let you know how tough a position the SEC is in right now. They're currently trying to make the case that Ripple owes them $2 billion for fraudulently selling XRP to the public, but then don't actually allege fraud in the case and can't find a single person who actually lost money. That is a massive issue in their case as it stands right now. And any logical person would look at the SEC right here and say, why don't you just settle? Obviously, you're not going to get any substantial amount of money from Ripple when you can't even bring any charges forward that would be necessary to prove the case. Now, if you thought that was bad, it actually gets worse, because one thing that people have constantly said is what happens if the SEC appeals the case, right? Maybe the SEC just wants this case to play out so they can appeal it and ultimately get XRP declared as a security in a higher level court. Well, listen up to this by Jeremy Hogan, because this is going to let you know that even if the SEC was to appeal this case, it might be impossible to actually change the designation that Judge Torres put out there that XRP itself is not a security. Listen up to this.
And she ruled on this XRP is not a security in a very interesting way. She quoted other cases which say kind of the same thing. And so it's called what's called dicta because it's not an essential part of her order, but it is in there. I don't think you can appeal that. I don't think that's appealable. I really don't. I don't think that any appellate court can touch that part of the order which says XRP in and of itself is not a security, which is really what's important for the XRP holders.
So guys, what you just heard from these two lawyers is that the two main reasons why the SEC brought this case have completely fallen apart. One, they wanted XRP to be a security. Now that looks like that's probably off the table forever because of the way Judge Torres ruled on it. But also, they would have at least taken money from Ripple, but what we're seeing is they might not actually be able to get any money from Ripple. Guys, these are the reasons why I believe a settlement would make a lot of sense. But the reason I have to put a caveat on this is because so far the SEC, right, has been a completely irrational, completely illogical when it comes to wrapping this thing up and getting themselves out of this disaster. Guys, me personally, right, or if any of you were the heads of the SEC, I think we could all agree that the right move would just be to take the big fine from Ripple, give them the slap on the wrist, and move on. But so far, trying to apply logic to the SEC's decisions has kind of been a fool's errand. Now, the other thing I'll say, right, if this case does not settle, then I actually hope it takes longer than many people are expecting. So guys, why would I say that? Why would I want this case to take longer? It has already taken forever. Well, say the case ended today, which is impossible, but just for the hypothetical, let's just say it ended today. The SEC would have plenty of time with Gary Gensler still at the head of the agency to appeal the case. If this case went for the entire summer and into early fall, into November, then essentially this case could be ending at the same exact time Gary Gensler is being removed from the SEC. Because what we know is there's likely going to be a change in the administration. And even if there's not a change in the administration, the party in control right now is having a very hard time with Gary Gensler at the SEC. I think it's very possible that if this case ends closer to November going into December, then Gary Gensler is not going to have time or even the care to appeal this case going forward. So guys, for me, I really hope either this case settles in the near term so that the SEC can't appeal this case for the rest of its history. It's over. XRP is permanently not a security. Or if the SEC does plan to continue to be illogical, if the SEC does plan to continue to be irrational, this case actually lasts a little longer, goes into the fall, goes into November and December, where we might actually have a new head of the SEC that actually has a brain and can actually get Ripple out of this case, right? And apply some common sense, right, and not sue one of the only good players in the cryptocurrency industry. I just wanted to put that out there, but I think the main thing you can take away from this video is regardless of whether or not it goes the distance or the case does settle, guys, the SEC has never been in a worse position. They're not getting any of Ripple's money unless they settle. They're not getting XRP to ever be declared a security, whether they appeal this case or not. And that's why for a while, I just haven't focused much on this case. But very interesting to see Brad Garlinghouse and Stuart Alderati in New York. Personally, I would hope this case would settle today. That'd be absolutely amazing, but it just seems a little too good to be true for me. I want to finish this video off though and show you two very, very interesting charts that maybe do tell us that there's something big around the corner. Take a look at this chart right here. It's the XRP price chart flipped upside down, and essentially people are kind of joking around. They're saying XRP will crash so hard. Now, this isn't XRP crashing, right? Because the chart is upside down, this would actually be XRP pumping. And it's funny when you flip the chart upside down, right? It just seems so obvious that a pump is right around the corner. I think sometimes when we're looking at the normal XRP price chart, right, we get kind of, oh, well, it looks like it should pump, but that just seems too hopeful, right? Is it really going to pump? Is it really going to pump? But guys, looking at this chart right here, it looks like XRP is about to fall off a cliff, which on the normal chart, right, would be XRP going absolutely parabolic. The other chart I wanted to share with you quickly is just this comparison of the XRP price chart today versus the XRP price chart in 2018 when it did that massive 10,000% pump. What you can see by this structure, guys, and if you want to pause the video and take a closer look, I highly suggest you do that, or go to my X account, right? I did retweet this. You can see that right now XRP is essentially completing the same exact formation we saw in 2018. Guys, XRP's fundamentals, in my opinion, should be valuing XRP way past all-time highs, a $10 XRP. The rest of the cryptocurrency industry, the rest of the top tier coins are telling us that we are in a bull market. XRP always lags, but it always makes its big move in a parabolic fashion. Guys, I have no idea what the news catalyst is going to be, or even if there is going to be one, but XRP has never looked as primed as it does right now for a massive parabolic pump. In my opinion, right, it could be days, weeks away. Maybe we see one more small retracement. I know there's still a little more room in the symmetrical triangle for a pullback to the low 50-cent range. But guys, that's just noise in my opinion. It's not something that I think really matters. What really matters is the move that looks like could be right around the corner. Guys, what is going to make XRP make that move? Is it going to be a settlement? Is it going to be the relaunch of the AMM? Is it going to be some new massive ODL partner or a bank? I have no idea, but the fundamentals have never looked better. Ripple has never looked as good as it does right now in the XEC case. We see developers currently flocking to the XRP ledger, the most we've ever seen. And some of the biggest progress we have seen to date with Ripple's actual expansion of their ODL product, of their XRP solutions in the banking sector. Guys, things have never looked better. The price is going to catch up. I hope you enjoyed this video. And for now, Mickle out.